I can tell you that death is already happening.
Know about it. We don't talk about it.
Some people may find it a little morbid.
Maybe monks have this secret, what will happen after life.
I know you can find death meditations on YouTube.
People have fear of flying, some people have fear of water. What exactly we need to do in terms of accepting death and overcoming our fears?
And this is the difficult one, but it's so powerful.
If eventually we're going to die, so what's the relevance of it?
Going out, getting drunk every night. If you trace back our fears, most of our fears go back.
Very good evening, Lamachi. I hope you are having a wonderful evening.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time. So welcome to the listeners and welcome to the channel BYOB with Sagar. We are still exploring the acronym BYOB. Last time, Ferdinand suggested burn your own bag. And then Vikas, a friend of mine, who suggested bring your own brain. However, he forgets that every time. Before we jump into the topic, last time we had a very wonderful discussion about neurogenesis and how simple things like lifting your teacup from your left hand could really add value in building new brain cells. So you can always listen to the recording. But today we are here to talk about rather this uncomfortable topic. We know about it, we don't talk about it. And the topic which we are going to discuss today is about accepting death. So, Lamaji, before we dig deep into the topic, I would like to know one thing. How do you come to these explorations? Is it a part of just curiosity, or is it a part of any study or any training of becoming a monk?
Yeah, not just a monk. In Buddhism itself, death is a large part of the training. So, we believe that if you can face that, if you can, welcome death, then it means you can start to live your life. But if you're always going to be fearful of death, you're never going to be living your life to the full. So in Buddhism, it's a big part of Buddhist teachings.
Interesting, because that is an emotive topic, and I'm not really sure if everybody is comfortable talking about it. We have had many discussions, and I remember not once we brought that up. So we know about it, however, we don't talk about it. We know we are all going to die. I hope everybody knows that. All living, organisms in the world. But how is it important for us to know that we are going to die? Or how do we accept death, and what importance we should see in accepting?
Yeah, so you're right that some people don't want to face up to it. I've spoken to people who are 80, 90 years old, and they say, oh, don't talk about death. And, they're knocking on the door of death and still they don't want to talk about it. So it's fear. If you trace back our fears, most of our fears go back to death. You have a fear of flying, and it's because you think the plane is going to crash and you're going to die. Or you have a fear of snakes, and it's because you fear the snake is going to bite you and you're going to die. And so a lot of our fears can be traced back to death. So I think it's fear that is one of the emotions that keeps us from looking at death. And also, some people may find it a little morbid, but it isn't. You know, Whoever you are listening to this, I can tell you that death is already happening right at this moment. So whether you face it or not, whether you can feel it or not, death is in every moment. So the start of a moment is birth. The end of that moment is death. So in every moment in our life, death is there. So from the moment that you were born, you started that journey towards death. Now, you said about why is it important? It's important because if you live your life in fear, then it means that you're never ever going to be free to fully live your life. There's always going to be in the back of your mind, oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Yeah, we are going to die. So face up to it, welcome it. Because if you can just face up and welcome death and just deal with it, so there's no fear, it's okay. So for me, I don't care. And I think I've told you this before. I can drop down dead now. It's fine. You know, what is important is that if you understand that death can happen anytime, anywhere, then it means when you wake up in the morning, you should be grateful. The first thing you should think is, well, I've woke up. I've got another chance to live my life, to help people. And then when you go to bed at night, you should think, great, I've made it through another day. I don't know if I'll wake up in the morning, but if I do, I'll be grateful. So this is why understanding and welcoming death is going to help you to live your life fully without fear. At the moment, most people understand death on an intellectual level. Like you said at the beginning, we all know that we're going to die, but we leave it at that. And then let's forget about it and let's have fun. But you see, what you're doing there is that you're trying to mask over something that is happening, something that is already coming your way. And we don't know when we're going to die. So we should just be ready. It isn't a morbid thing at all, really. So I think the more that you appreciate that you're going to die, the more you start to appreciate that actually at this moment, I have this precious human life and I'm not going to waste it because I don't know how long it will last. If you wake up with that attitude, if you wake up with gratitude for, having another day, it's going to help you. So because people find it difficult, I think the easiest road in to start with is to look at impermanence, because impermanence actually means death, but it's a nicer way of saying it, and people think, oh yeah, impermanence, and they will think about that and they'll meditate on that and they will study that rather than studying death. So if we understand the all things that are compounded, so all things that are made up of two or more things are impermanent. And that's everything in the whole universe, and that's certainly us as human beings. So if you understand that you're impermanent, then again, it's going to help you to start living your life fully. Does that make sense?
Interesting. I mean, of course, we in a rushed life, we don't think about it. We often don't want to talk about it as well. However, I would like to understand one thing. For example, if we go that, yes, I'm going to die, and if we go accept death, so do you think this could lead to despair sometimes? Because we would like to impugn or start questioning things. Why do we do that? Why we are doing the things if eventually we're gonna die? So what's the relevance of it? So how do we tackle that negativity?
Is that negativity? You're bringing awareness to your actions. It's something that would be fantastic if we all did that. If we all questioned, why am I doing things instead of just blindly doing them? Because that's awareness. So I think that some people may get upset by thinking about death. And that's why I would only ever do death meditation with people that are sitting in front of me. I would never do it online or do a video of it because some people do get upset by it. But at the end of the day, that's where we're all going to end up. And if you can deal with those fears, then you're going to deal with a huge amount of fear in your life. So I think, with some people, they may take it as a negative, but if they have a good teacher, that teacher will guide them past that negativity so they can see the positive in it. And of course, the positive in it is that, you can now live your life without fear. You understand that this life that I've got is precious and it can end any moment. So let's make the most of it. And by making the most of it, I don't mean going out getting drunk every night. I mean making the most, like you. I mean making the most of it is like, being compassionate, being kind, leaving your mark behind. We don't know when we're going to go. So maybe today's our last day. So make it a good day, make it count. Help people, be kind and compassionate to people. So a good teacher will help you get through it. So don't try to do, I know you can find death meditations on YouTube, but I would suggest that, better you do it through a teacher, just in case you get that negativity that, then what's the point? Why should I carry on? So that isn't what you're supposed to be getting from the death meditation.
Yes,
So,
sure.
and I would also say to the people who are scared of doing it or don't want to do it, those people should just ask themselves, why am I resisting death? What is it about death that I'm resisting? Because, that's a good question to ask yourself. Sit down and just think, okay, death scares me. Why? Why does it? I mean, I understand nobody wants to have a long, lingering death where they're suffering a lot. We all want to just drop down dead because it's going to be easier for us. But I think that, sorry about that,
Achra
there's a
is
cat.
scrolling.
So,
Maybe she also doesn't want to listen about death.
no, my dog definitely doesn't. She wants to live forever. So the point is that, think about it. Think about, why you resist death. What is it about thinking about it that causes you problems? The more that you bring awareness to that, the more that you can start to change and accept it.
Interesting, because of course, the way you were saying, sometimes I see millennials having wrong idea about accepting death, because you can just see them chugging on their beer or getting intoxicated, just idealizing that, okay, we are living this life, but we're gonna die, so what's the use? But of course, you made that point as well, that we need to be mindful. I have my great grandmother. She's 103 something, and she talks about that every day. She goes like, "When I'm gonna die, I don't understand it. I think my file is lost somewhere up there." And so, so I guess it takes 100 years for us to really accept that we are going to die, and then we start waiting. But when you mention these things about accepting death, and people have fear of flying, some people have fear of water. So I know I read in the book, your one book is there, Open Awareness, Open Mind, and I certainly did death awareness meditation into that. That's a wonderful book. It's really simple, just a few practices for you to do, and it adds a tons of value over time. So when we talk about these fears, these apprehensive actions, which when we talk about flying, when we talk about water, so that these fear are there in the people. But how do we tackle that? How do we really accept what exactly we need to do in terms of accepting death and overcoming our fears?
Yeah, I mean, so there's many different ways. Like I said, first, understand impermanence. If you can understand impermanence, so if you don't want to understand, like death of yourself, then look at the impermanence of things around you, your mobile phone, your house, your car, your belongings. I mean, look at that. If you can understand the impermanence of phenomena, then you're going to be understanding the impermanence of yourself because they're the same. So the easiest way in is to study impermanence and really think about, first of all, meditate on what is not impermanent, because you'll never find anything that's not impermanent. Everything is changing. So then you look at people in your life who you've known that have died, and you'll see so many people that have died in your life. And you can also do the full death meditation where you, and this is the difficult one, but it's so powerful, where you imagine, you visualize yourself lying on the bed dying and people all around you. Then you visualize yourself dead on the bed and you visualize what people are doing. And then visualize yourself being taken to the cremation ground, being burnt, and how people are then. And then visualize 1 month after your death. What are people doing then? 2 months after your death, 3 months after your death. You'll see the world has gone on without you. Even if people miss you, they still carry on. The world, the life carries on. It's a great way to prepare ourselves for death, and just to see that in our minds we are so important and everything that happens to us is so important. And yet when you die, if you look out the window, there, the world is just carrying on the same. So I would say, first of all, before you do anything drastic like that one, I would say try to meditate on and read about impermanence and fully understand the impermanence of your belongings. Because once you've done that, then you're going to start to understand the impermanence of yourself. So I think we've only got like 2 minutes. So if people have
Yes.
questions.
We have one comment from Marie. She is saying that perhaps the fear for many people is that they don't know what will happen to their soul after death. Maybe monks have this secret, what will happen after life. We don't know. So if you want to quickly cover on that.
So it's an easy question for a monk, a Buddhist monk, because we don't believe in soul. So for us, there is no soul. So then that's that. That's that answered.
That's very quick. I
So
think,
what I would say is, but
yeah.
if you do believe in the soul, so which is okay, what I would say is that if you've lived your life, you've made a difference, you've helped people, and you've left some legacy behind. You've trained up people, you've written a book, or you've done something like that. Then, if you've done good in this life, then it's a safe bet that your next rebirth is going to be good. If you've been totally bad in this life, then, what do you expect in your next life? So I think instead of worrying about your next life, ensure that you're a good person in this life. You're doing your best to help others and you leave a legacy behind you.